Welcome to the Pitcher Nail Down. I'm Jason Gilbo. With me is Justin Elick. Finally, we get some pitching options to talk about on a Monday. We get the GOAT of the GOAT, Clayton Kershaw, but we also get like John Lester, Corey Kluber. So, I mean, there's definitely some moves to make.
Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden it's super top heavy. I mean, it's been like 4 or 5 Mondays in a row with just garbage pitching, and then now you got to make a ton of tough decisions. I mean, you got 3 top guys potentially. I'll say 2 top guys and a near top guy, I guess. And then past that, I mean, you're gonna have to get really creative because there's not a whole lot of strikeout upside past these top few guys.
No, definitely not. I mean, we kind of go lower. It's a lot of guys getting called back up to make starts. A lot of guys that we stack against in the past. So, talk about Kershaw here, back at home against the Mets. This is a team that hasn't been bad against lefties, but this is obviously a different spot because Kershaw is the best lefty in the game.
Yeah, I mean, that money line has to be the biggest we've seen all year, right? Minus 310. I mean, it's insanely high, and somehow still a 7-run total. You know, I still sometimes, not tonight, am a believer in Zach Wheeler. So it's strange to me that the Dodgers have such a high projection. I know he got rocked in his last start, but I mean, would you say the Mets are projected for like 2.25 runs or something, basically?
Yeah.
They're projected to get one off Kershaw, one off the bullpen. I guess it's probably fair, right? They'll get one off Kershaw in the first 8. Someone will come in the 9th, give up 1 more run, and there's your Vegas. There's your under still, I guess.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those ones where it's like Conforto hits a solo shot and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. I'll go Cespedes. Cespedes will get 1.
All right. Yeah, because that's the thing. I mean, Kershaw's actually given up a decent amount of home runs to lefties this year.
Yeah, that's true.
Weird. So,
yeah, I don't think he's going to maintain that. He can't, right?
I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't matter. In this one, I mean, what do you have? 4 strikeouts against the Indians. That was an anomaly. I mean, he still pitched well in that game. I think it was kind of one of those, you realize Indians don't strike out a ton anyway. You're going to pitch to some contact because he doesn't give up a ton of hard contact anyway. So, I mean, it seemed to me he was just trying to be efficient with his pitch count, and that one ends. I mean, he didn't really need to, I guess, blow anybody away. But I think this is a good spot for him to, was it been 3 starts since he's had double-digit strikeouts?
Yeah, I mean, you look at his recent strikeouts. I mean, 9 against Washington. That's, a tough matchup there. 14 against Milwaukee, 6 against the Cubs. He struggled there. 10 against St. Louis. So, I mean, the strikeout upside is there. It's just a matter of, do you want to pay that price?
Yeah, and the weird thing is he's walking guys now. He's got 5 walks in his last 2 starts. And, I mean, he's possibly, has the best command of any pitcher ever to play. I mean, his strikeout to walk ratio has been just legendary every year. So I'm not concerned by any means. I mean, if 3 walks is the worst it possibly gets for you, then obviously, you're not losing your GOAT status. But I don't know. It's weird to me to see him walking batters. I mean, he walked, I think it was Encarnacion in that start on 4 pitches. And I was sure there was something wrong with him because I don't think I've ever seen him walk someone on 4 pitches.
Do you think it was just, I mean, you look at those matchups, Cleveland and Washington, if it was just him being careful and like kind of intentionally walking guys?
Yeah, that's
like
my only pitching around him.
Yeah, that's my only case for that. Because, I mean, outside of that, I mean, yeah, he had that weird start against San Diego where he walked 4 guys in 1 start. But outside of that, I mean, it's been 0 or 1.
Yeah, and I mean, that one, he even still dominated. So, I don't know, maybe like we saw remember last year with Chris Sale, how he was kind of pitching to contact in lieu of getting strikeouts and then realized like how great his stuff is still and then went back to striking people out. But I mean, that was the most frustrating thing. I mean, I don't know that we see Kershaw do that, but I don't know. As weird as it's been recently, all the hot weather, all the high totals, lots of home runs being hit. I mean, maybe we start seeing these top guys, more of, I'm going to give you a good pitch, not a great pitch, and kind of just be able to pitch deeper in the game. I don't know. It's still Kershaw. I still think he gets 10 strikeouts tonight, though.
Yeah, no, I definitely did too. I mean, he's by far the top option. If you can fit him in, fit him in. Moving down here, Corey Kluber. A little bit of weather in this one for at least the hour. Thunderstorm, so keep an eye on that one. But Kluber, tremendous strikeout upside. Baltimore woke up a little bit here this St. Louis series, but this has still been an offense that's just been trending downwards. There's a ton of right-handed bats in this line. There's only, 2 lefties. and one of them Seth Smith, and I can't even remember the other one. That's because it's not important. But Kluber in a good spot here against a really right-handed heavy team.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at his past against these guys. I mean, 95 at bats. He's got 33 strikeouts, so he's rocking almost a 40% strikeout rate against these guys. And I mean, even the last couple of games, gave up a couple earned runs, but he's kind of had, I guess, always, as far as an elite guy, some issues with lefties. So, like you said, only those 1.5 lefties in this. And I know Seth Smith's been hitting well, but come on, still Seth Smith. I really like picking on Baltimore, even at home with guys that strike out a lot of batters because, a guy like Kluber out here, he's got, 28 strikeouts in 19 innings since he's come back. Really hasn't missed a beat. He doesn't give up a lot of hits. Certainly doesn't give up a lot of hard contact right now either. So, I mean, I just think it's a really good spot. And I think, honestly, his upside is really similar to Kershaw's tonight. He doesn't have the same floor, of course, but I think his upside is really close to the same as Kershaw for a little bit cheaper.
No, I'm definitely with you. I mean, Baltimore, 22.6% strikeout rate against righties. They're bottom 5 in hard contact against righties. I think that's probably the most surprising stat against this Baltimore offense.
Yeah, because there's still not necessarily misconception, but that belief that it's a really tough lineup and, they crush everybody. Because, I mean, they do have power top to bottom, but what are they, 18th in WOBA against righties this year? Against righties. So, I know that there's the potential for 3-4 home runs, but that's not something that usually happens to Kershaw or Kluber. When he gets hit, it's usually walks a couple guys, gives up a big inning. It's not usually a bunch of home runs. Although, was it 1.12 per 9 this year? It isn't great, but I don't think he has it in him to give up 3-4 in a game.
No, you just look at what he's done. I mean, his strikeouts have been phenomenal since he's got back from the DL, 28 over his last 3. Yeah, I mean, like you said, that Dodgers thing, he had one bad inning where, he basically allowed those 2 earns and was just dominant the rest of the way. So I'm with you. I like him a lot. I like the fact that his price has dropped from the last start, and I think this is an easier matchup than the Dodgers. So Kluber's probably definitely the first pivot I make off of Kershaw, as long as weather permits.
Yeah, and I mean, plus, how many times have we seen Kluber do something like give up 2 runs in the first or second inning, and then he just gets better and better as the game goes on and goes 7-8 innings? Because I know there's been a couple times in the past in GPPs or something I've faded him, and I'm feeling like a genius in the 4th inning because he's got 2 strikeouts and 2 earned runs, and then he strikes out the next 6 batters, and then there goes that fade. So I feel like I'm always more afraid to fade Kluber in a good spot than Kershaw, because Kluber is usually much more reasonably priced, and that strikeout upside is really recently it's been better than Kershaw's.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at strikeout rate this year, obviously Brad Peacock hasn't pitched the full amount of innings. Kluber hasn't either, but Kluber 30% strikeout rate this year, Kershaw 28%. The only difference is really hard contact, but
yeah.
Moving down the list, John Lester we'll talk about here going up against the Padres. John Lester really hasn't been great this year outside of that last start. I mean, he had a good start against the Giants. He's actually pitched well against better teams this year, I guess you could say. Pitched really well against the Yankees. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of John Lester. I like him here, but I also feel like this could be one of those games where it might be a little bit risky.
Yeah, I don't love John Lester in general. I don't consider him. I mean, he's a very good pitcher, but I don't consider him, quite in that elite category. Because I mean, he's a guy that has, I suppose, elite upside, but he's inconsistent. Like you were mentioning to me before the show, I mean, everybody kind of knows, there's some speed in this lineup, and he's a guy that, small innings, a guy like Billy Hamilton when he faces him. I mean, sometimes he gets on first base, steals second, ground out, he's scoring. And then all of a sudden, a good start turns into a decent one, or a decent start turns into a bad one. I mean, he just doesn't do well with speed. And I mean, he's had that great game against the Giants with 10 Ks, great game against the Mets with 10 Ks, but in between, pretty terrible. I mean, 6 earned runs against the Dodgers, 3 against St. Louis wasn't bad, but only 4 strikeouts. Colorado hit him around a little bit too. So I think he's like the ultimate GPP guy tonight, because I think the matchup more than I like Lester here. But also keeping in mind that over the last week, Padres are second in baseball with 13 homers, 240 team ISO. So he's not a guy that gives up a ton of homers, less than 1 per 9 innings. But, nice park shift for them. So I think this is one of those spots where you play some Lester, but you throw yourself in a Padres stack as well, just in case if you're making more than one lineup, because he's still going to be fairly popular just because of the matchup. But I definitely won't be playing him in cash games.
Yeah, I don't think I'll go that route. Unless like Kluber does get rained out, maybe I can fit something in like on DK.
Yeah.
FanDuel, it's for me. It's Kershaw and figure it out. Yeah, I mean, I can see one of those games for Lester. It's just like he kind of labors through 5-6 innings, like gives up 4 earned, 6 strikeouts, and it's like a couple infield hits, a couple like 3-2 walks. Like I can just see one of those games for him, but I can also see him going out and having another good start. So I'm going to play him, but I'm also not going to be surprised if he just has a mediocre start.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you're going to fade one of the 3 top guys there, I mean, I think Lester is definitely the one. And I don't know. I mean, maybe with like you mentioned, the weather concerns, maybe he gets similar ownership to Kluber, which I think would be insane regardless, because I'd rather take my chance on Kluber in the rain, unless it's obviously significant postponed threat. But
I could see like on DraftKings, I could see people saving 3,000 from Kershaw to Lester. Like maybe I'm not giving Lester enough credit in terms of ownership, but I don't know. I feel like the way things have been going this year, people have taken the savings and tried to get cute, instead of just pitching Kershaw.
Yeah, and you see a lot of the, Vegas favorite, like, oh, he's a Vegas favorite. He's a huge favorite, minus 230 right now, second biggest favorite on the board. So a lot of times people look at that, look at the low opposing team total. But, I mean, we all know that strikeouts are king anyway in DFS. So if he goes out, even if he pitches 7 innings, gets 4 strikeouts at his price, I don't know that's worth it.
Yeah,
I don't know. He's a tough one to pick tonight. I definitely it's one of those both sides types of things for me.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely have some shares, but I think you and I definitely more lean towards the GPP side.
Yep.
Johnny Cueto, this is a guy I'm just not on tonight. I just feel like we can talk about him because he's a bigger name. I just don't like him on the road in this ballpark against this lineup that just doesn't strike out a ton. They got Matt Kemp back, but missing Freddie Freeman, but Matt Adams was actually filled in nicely. I just don't see Cueto going out there and having such an elite start that matches up to the 3 names that we just mentioned.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. I mean, they haven't been great recently. 22.6% strikeout rate. But at the same time, I mean, Cueto really hasn't been great either. His lineup hasn't really been hitting particularly well. Just struggled over his last 2 games against 2, not very good offenses. Gave up 10 hits and 3 walks over just 5 2/3 against Kansas City. I mean, he had good starts against Philly. He did do well against Atlanta time for us, but I mean, he hasn't gone more than 6 innings in it's been 7 starts since he did that. And I mean, he has 1 double-digit strikeout game this year. I don't see the upside at that price. I mean, if you're going the low ownership route, I could see it, I suppose, because he certainly has the potential to go, 7 strong innings and shut this team down. But I'm not excited about him tonight. But if you're making a bunch of lineups, I don't mind throwing him at 1 or 2, but he definitely won't be a main play for me at all.
Yeah, I just look. Yeah, I mean that Atlanta game that was back in San Francisco. I just look. This is such a tough ballpark to pitch in. Humidity's going to be through the roof because there's some rain and thunderstorms in the area. I don't know. I just don't see Cueto going out there and like dominating. And like I can see 20 DK points, sure, but I can see 30 from Kluber, Lester, and Kershaw plus.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean the strikeout upside, I feel like you're taking a big step backward with him. I don't know. I could be wrong on that one, but I just don't see a whole lot of strikeout upside here.
After that, I guess we can talk about some of these guys. We'll talk about Brad Peacock because he's the one that we like the most. Agree?
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned strikeouts. I mean, the guy doesn't pitch deep into games. He's got issues with walks, but Oakland has been among the worst in baseball recently as far as strikeouts go. I mean, last 7 days, striking out 24.6% of the time, 24.8 against righties this year. I mean, Peacock, his strikeout rate has been insane. I mean, 8, 9, 1, and 10 strikeouts in his 5 starts. Only problem is he's only gone more than 4 2/3 one time. So, his price is creeping up there where you feel scared about it because obviously you need 6 innings for that quality start potential bonus. You need 5 innings for him to even be eligible for the win. And I mean, he's only done that once in 5 starts. But that same rate, I mean, he should easily be able to rack up some strikeouts in this game. You just hope that a team that's actually walking a decent amount in Oakland, I mean, he's got to keep his pitch count down in this one. If he can go 6 innings here, I mean, price considered, he could be one of the top plays on the board. You just, I can't sit here and expect it because he hasn't really done it.
No, I mean, I look at this and I'm kind of frustrated because those Yankees pitchers were in such good spots as far as strikeout upside this past series, and they didn't get it done.
Yep.
But yeah, I like Brad Peacock. I mean, I went right back to the well last time against Texas after probably people are going to fade him after that Angels start. 10 strikeouts, as you said, 4.2 innings. He's only gone over 5 once. The crazy thing is, like, he went 4.2 against Texas. I mean, his 2 best games have been against Texas. That's just because they strike out a ton. But this Oakland team, I feel like it's boom or bust. I think in terms of an SP2, if you don't want to pay up for 2 high-priced guys, which, I mean, you might want to get some bats in, and that's fine. I think Peacock's fine in terms of an SP2. FanDuel, I mean, definitely a good GPP play. You're just hoping for that high strikeout upside and hoping that he can at least pull away with a win. I actually think the quality start's less likely than a win just because I can't see him getting the 6 innings.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't know. I'm real hesitant on FanDuel for all those reasons. I mean, 8 walks for his last 2. But I mean, if this is the game where he gets to 6 innings and he gets 8 strikeouts and he's 7,200, I mean, you're going to see some ownership on him, of course. I mean, he's not a guy you'll see in cash games. I think cash games are going to be just almost exclusively probably Kluber, Kershaw with a little bit of Lester. But I mean, I don't know. I'm so torn on him on FanDuel. I really love him on DraftKings, even though he's a little bit over 8K.
Yeah.
But I mean, he gives you that strikeout floor that these other guys really don't have.
Yeah, I think that's what's it for me because, I mean, once you start to narrow it down, other guys, I mean, Marco Estrada on the road to Texas, I don't want any part of that with how he's pitched. I'm not a big Tanner Roark guy, especially in this spot. I mean, run total is actually really high, both those over 4.8 in Miami, which is kind of surprising in that ballpark.
Yeah. Man, I'm torn on Estrada because Texas has been striking out a ton. I know he's been horrible, but he was great against them last time. Granted, in Toronto, not out in the heat in Texas. Much different story. I think he does have the potential, but I just hate Marco Estrada. I hate playing him because he gives up so many fly balls. That team hits a ton of fly balls.
Yeah, can I change your mind here?
Yeah, go for it.
His hits over the last 3 games, 12, 7, 9.
So he's Garrett Cole.
Good. He's given up 4 homers over the last against the Rays in Oakland, which I expect him to do well. The Yankees, I expect him. That was that small 4-game slate where I was like, all right, I'll consider Estrada.
Yeah.
I don't know. He hasn't been good.
I think he's the worst pitcher on the slate that has upside. Because I mean, if you go on strikeout rate, no, I don't. Garrett Cole does not have upside. It doesn't exist. I mean, Estrada, think about it. Over his last 7 starts, he's got an 8 strikeout game, an 8 strikeout game, a 12, another 8, and I mean, I don't know. I don't like the spot for him. I hate that ballpark. I don't like the matchup. But it is a team that just swings and misses, and in a really ridiculously bad way sometimes.
I just look at that lineup, though. It's so – getting Adrian Beltre back, like, that's going to drop the strikeout rate down. He doesn't strike out that much. Carlos Gomez, like, this is now a lineup where it was like, okay, you had, like, DeShields and maybe a couple other guys, like, you could get through. Like, there's no easy out here 1 through 9.
I mean, you think Gomez and Chu are going to keep hitting the way they're hitting right now? No way.
Dude, I don't know. I look at that, and this is probably a lineup I'm just going to be staying away from in Texas. I'll target them when they're on the road, but I think in Texas, I don't know. I think pitchers might be off play for me.
So over under 35 FanDuel points.
I'll take the under.
I'll go over.
All right.
I don't like it. I don't like it. But
this next Monday.
yeah. We'll talk back about this one, but I don't know. Like I said, I hate the spot. I'm not telling you to play him, but I'll put him in on 1 just because Texas is striking out a ton. They're not as good. This offense is not as good as it seems. I'll say that.
No, I don't think they're as good, but I think this is just a spot where, like, you throw in the secondary factors of, like, the park and the weather.
Oh yeah.
And there's absolutely so much power. Like the fly balls, like you said, like
rate or whatever it is, 98%.
Yeah. I can't do it.
All right, so tell me why to play Garrett Cole then.
I'm not saying play Garrett Cole. I'm just saying he has. I think he's. No, I'm not going to say he's safer, but look at his numbers against Milwaukee. It's been pretty solid. Milwaukee's strikeout rate is high against right-handed, pitching 24.8%. That's really what you're chasing after. The issue is, I guess now, outside of the bottom of the lineup like Broxton, I guess some of these guys can run, but like it's different than having like VR lead off. But Garrett Cole can't hold anyone on. They can't throw anyone out. That's the downside.
Yeah.
I don't know. Garrett Cole's one of those boomer bust guys that I like. 7,500. I like the fact that his price is down. This is definitely just a DraftKings move because if he goes out there and gets you 20 DK points at that price, and you compare him with another bat and get some, or another pitcher and get some bats in, that's a pretty good edge over the rest of the field because I think people are done with Cole, and I think if Milwaukee didn't strike out as much as they do, I'd be done with him as well. But I'm just sucked in just a little bit. He's definitely a multiple lineup type guy, though.
Yeah, my personal thoughts on Garrett Cole. Yeah, I'd rather just throw my money in the trash than play Garrett Cole. I get the upside, the matchup. It's the same thing as Estrada. Like I don't like the pitcher. I don't really like the spot. I guess I do like the spot for Cole, but he's not good. I think he's a barely average pitcher, and people still think that he's a good pitcher. I don't get it. Like he's not good. He's not a good pitcher.
This is coming from the same guy who just doesn't think Carlos Martinez is that good.
Listen, I said he's not an elite pitcher. I said very good, not elite. He's twice as good as Garrett Cole. Twice as good.
He definitely is.
Cole's given up 1.62 homers per 9, strikeout rate under 20% this year. Maybe even getting a little lucky. BABIP 294, kind of low. He's trash.
Left on base,
he's absolutely
74%.
Yeah, Garrett Cole is bad.
Before, so he's not bad, but
yeah. Like if Garrett Cole walked up to me and said, "Hey, would you like my autograph?" I don't even want the free baseball. Like if he's offering me a baseball with his autograph,
you should ask him, "Do you want my autograph?" And you just sign like a Costco membership card for him.
I just finished his napkin. Here you go, Garrett. My bad. He's crap. He's terrible.
All right, let's move on. Daniel Gossett is the guy you were looking at. His minor league stuff, 4,200 on DK. This is one of those ones where it's like, you're pitching Kershaw and you want to still be able to play bats. Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so let me preface this by saying I'm not encouraging anybody targeting the Astros because it's usually suicide because they're the best offense in baseball. Although I'm sure only Yankees fans will argue with that, and they're wrong. But either way, looking at these minor league numbers, the guy's been pretty consistently good. Single A, over 10 strikeouts per 9. You kind of skip that. Single A means little to nothing. But then Double A, 9 strikeouts per 9, just over 2 walks per 9. FIP 2.57, ground ball rate of 57%, swing strike rate 14%. Obviously not maintaining that. But then in Triple A this season, over 60 innings, 8 strikeouts per 9, 2.8 walks per 9, FIP at 3.78, ground ball rate around 50%, swing strike 11%. I'm not saying that the guy's going to go out and get you 6, 7, 8 Ks. That's ridiculous. Had the one start, got hit pretty hard, but I don't, with new pitchers, especially guys like him who are actually supposed to be pretty good pitchers, could be jitters. Who knows what it is? It's the first time up in the majors. Obviously, this is a much tougher matchup than that one, even though Miami's been pretty good. I'm just saying for 5,700 on FanDuel, if you want to stack up bats, who else you got? You got Austin Bivens, Dirks, terrible. Nicolino's facing Washington, who's one of, if not the best in the world in this split. You got Anibal Sanchez, who's already given up a homer, and it's 6.5 hours till game time. These guys, it's horrible down here. I think, talent-wise, he's easily the best cheap pitcher. It's a horrible spot for him, but, sub 1% ownership tonight, right, for this guy? Everyone's going to be on the top pitchers. I don't mind throwing him in there on a multi-lineup. If you're making 10, throw him in one, get every top bat you want or whatever top stack you want against one of these pieces of crap like Anibal Sanchez.
Yeah.
And, certainly the potential to get rocked is there. He obviously hasn't even had the opportunity to really show that he can cut it at the major league level, but ballpark's good. Houston's got the lowest strikeout rate in baseball over the last 7 days and one of the lowest for the season. So the upside's not there, but when you consider his price, he could give you maybe 5-6 solid innings and let the bullpen get rocked.
That's what you basically need out of him, like 15 DK points. Like that's all I would ask out of him. Because, all right, you know what? If I get 30, 35 from Kershaw, that's fine. I'm getting a combined 50 there. And you're kind of looking at the salary relief that he gives you. I'm okay with it. I'm a little weirded out the fact that Houston does have a 5-run total, although I shouldn't be because they have been the best offense in baseball, and there's just a ton of potential. But as you said, better ballpark. I mean, maybe we see a couple balls hit to the track and we get a little bit lucky, but you know what? We take some luck.
Yeah, we'll take some fly balls in that enormous foul ground. That's like another stadium in itself. I mean, that's if I was a pitcher, I would take half the money what anyone else offers me to pitch in Oakland. It's like a pitcher's paradise.
Yeah,
obviously I'm not a pitcher. I mean, unless you're dying to see my 61 mile an hour Bronson Arroyo fastball.
I mean, wiffle ball, I can make that move, but yeah.
You can throw 61 miles an hour with a wiffle ball?
No, but I'll make it move.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, deep type of play, but I wouldn't touch any of these other guys that are cheap. I mean, they're all cheap because they've been horrible. And at least this guy's young and has the potential to be pretty good.
Yep. No, I'm definitely with you. I'll pass everywhere else. That's it. Finally good pitching, and then we broke it up with a lot of crap after that.
Yep. Good pitching and Garrett Cole.
All right, so we'll revisit next week. We'll talk about Estrada, Garrett Cole, see where we land on that one. It brings us back to our wide receiver days.
Yeah, let's go, Marco.
That's true. Oh, God. All right. Let's wrap things up here. You can head over to DaveFantasyCafe.com. Check out our great tools and content.